But my giving story started with my dad. My dad grew up with nothing. And when he was able to give, he was always like, give where you can and support your local community because they're the ones that are going to come through for you. And so I always get a little weepy because it always makes me think of my dad, and hopefully he'd be proud of me.
FutureCurrent with Dr. Stephen Bean.
So, Lainey, today's guest was Susan Parks. She's the president and CEO of United Way Orange County.
This was such an interesting interview for me. The resources she shared, I had never heard about before.
211, right?
211.
All right, well, let's get to the show so people know what that is.
They need to know.
I've been really excited about you coming in and joining us. Lainey, in case you don't know, Sue is from the Orange County United Way.
Yeah.
And she's here today to share about the great work that you do at the county level and how our work at the Orange County Department of Education is connected. So thank you for joining us today.
Well, I am thrilled to be here, Dr. Bean. Thank you so much for including me. I'm honored.
I'm very excited to learn more about the work that you do. And could you just tell us a little bit about what got you started in this work and how this became kind of what you've dedicated your life to?
Oh, wow. You want me crying right off the bat? I mean, Lainey.
Like the tears.
No, I actually started getting involved with Orange County United Way back in my corporate life, and I had a call out of the blue. It was way before everybody knew everybody's cell phones, but it was about could I help them start a women's giving circle? It hadn't really been done here at the time. When people thought of making gifts, they normally asked the husband, the man, and it hadn't been really a giving circle started here. And so they asked me if I would start one, and I worked here. I lived here, but I worked elsewhere. And so I was like, I only know the people at United Airlines, my family, and the cleaners. Those are that's my social circle. But I thought about it and I said, yes, because what an amazing way to meet really caring people in the community. And as I got more and more people involved and I started learning more about the organization, I really fell in love with the strategic aspect, but also that personal aspect where I help people every day. So it became a joy for me, and I ended up joining the board and been on for a number of years. Our CEO was retiring, and I was encouraged to put my hat in the ring. So here I am. But my giving story started with my dad. My dad grew up with nothing, and when he was able to give, he was always like, give where you can and support your local community because they're the ones that are going to come through for you. And so I always get a little weepy because it always makes me think of my dad, and hopefully he'd be proud of me.
Oh, I'm sure he would be.
Yeah, I came up or was raised very similarly. We have 11 brothers and sisters, and so my dad would always say, we put so much into you and care for you that one day you're going to need to do the same for the vulnerable across Orange County. And I know that's what you do at United Way, right? So tell us a little bit more about some of that work that's connected to helping students and families in Orange County.
Yeah, thank you. And what you do every day to help families here in Orange County is unsurpassed. So again, thank you for everything that you do to help our families and their children have these amazing potential futures. So
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So in Orange County, we have a couple ways that we interact. One of the things that we do is everybody that we helped are people that you would consider whatever the appropriate title is, but underserved, low income. We work with people who really needs a help up in their life. Most of the people we work with, they're hardworking. They want to do what's right for their family, but maybe they have had a setback for whatever, something happened in their life, or they just don't have a circle of friends and family that can support them to make that big step forward, right? So all of that being said, we help families in a number of ways. And one of the wonderful ways that we partner is in Title I elementary schools, so schools that I believe I'm correct, 40% or less, 40% or more are eligible for, food assistant programs. We are in, I believe, nine schools, 9 locations, but we have a Spark Point program, and these are financial literacy wellness centers, and the schools help identify 50 families that they feel are concerned on their housing stable, right? They're not worried that these families are going to fall into homelessness. And we know that if a family goes homeless, that child normally gets yanked from school and then it starts a spiral. And so we want that family together to be stabilized. And the schools normally identify 50 families that we work with every year in each of those schools. And we help the family set family goals and learn how to budget, learn how they all can contribute and make sure they're all on the same page and help them build that self-confidence that they can get ahead, that they can make a difference. And the changes that go on are just really amazing in terms of families. There's one family I just remember, like the young daughter going, we don't need to use that much dishwashing soap. You only need to use this much. And that way we can make it go faster. I mean, they're all part of that change that they're driving in their family, right? And then we have stipend monies to help people through a particular hard time, as long as they're working ahead. And so the families that graduate from the program really have a head start in terms of understanding their finances, but understanding their family dynamics and how we can all make a difference together. But the other thing that we do is we work with your CTE programs, and we help students get excited about careers of the future. And so we have amazing partnership. We help close to 3,000 students a year, primarily in different schools around, but I'm excited that we might be working with some of your access students as well. But the idea of help students understand these careers that are out there that maybe they had no visibility of. Wow, there's Google Fiber here, Edwards Life Sciences, being in an architectural firm. And we bring the companies into the classroom and we bring the students to the businesses. And we have a number of volunteers that help with mock interviews and resumes, and students can be interns at schools. I heard a student the other day that interned at Edwards Life Sciences, and he realized he wanted to be an engineer. No engineers ever in his family. Like this is going to be a major breakthrough.
Okay, now I'm going to cry.
I know. It's so cool. But we do that together, and that's what I love. I love the opportunity that we can work in, help more students be passionate about their opportunities for their future.
Yeah, it's great that you say that, because in my 15 months at Orange County Department of Education, it's remarkable to see how our County Office of Education has pretty close connections with public agencies, nonprofits like yours, and how you support and serve not just our families, but our students. And so, for our listeners, CTE is Career Technical Education. And what that means is just that, we support students to help understand the different business sectors and different workforce pathways they could go to for jobs, right, at the end of the day. So what are you in particular doing with Orange County to help increase the awareness of the types of jobs that are out there?
To the students, to help them be more familiar with what's going on. I think one of the things that we do is that we bring in different companies into the classroom and have some of their folks talk about their experience. But I was at one last year where one of the big accounting firms here, I think it was EY, they actually had a whole series of different folks come in and talk about what's in a marketing department at a big accounting firm. There's engineering at a big accounting firm. You don't have to just be a CPA. That might not be your career trajectory, but open up this vision that in every organization, there are all these different roles. And the students got to go and spend time with each of these different executives from these different company departments, and it was really eye-opening. But on the other side, we do work with the companies that are so generous in supporting our work and encourage their team members to come in and volunteer. And so, like, we'll go to the big companies we do, and their employees are the ones that come out and mock interviews and get excited and help with resume building and all that. When we do the field trips, there's always the ambassadors within the companies that are showing off their company to these students. And those moments matter. Those moments make a difference to those employees and want to get more involved in helping students.
It's just tremendous, all of these services that you're offering. And we like have more that we need to talk about because you recently shared with me 211. So obviously you're doing so much for families. I had no idea about this service. I think we all know about 911, but 211, can you tell us about that?
I'd be happy to. Yeah, a couple years ago, United Way here in Orange County brought in 211. And for those not familiar with 211, as you said, if it's a social services hotline. So if your house is on fire,
Mm,
life or death, call 911, absolutely. But maybe you can't pay your rent next month and you're
mm,
worried about being evicted, or maybe like what's happening right now in terms of that you're worried about feeding your family and you don't know where the closest food pantry is or what services are out there. Call 211. In times of emergencies, like the fires that happened in LA, again, house on fire, anything, call 911 like that.
mm.
But if you're not sure if you're going to have transportation to get to work the next day or whatever, call 211. We are a social services hotline. 1,100 nonprofits are part of this. They represent over
Wow.
3,000 programs. We know what programs are current or what's not, and we can help direct people to where they can go and get the support. It is a lifeline to so many, and we'd love more people to know about it and to use it because the sooner somebody who needs help calls for help, the better chances we are going to be able to help, maybe with rental assistance or maybe
Hmm.
getting to somebody that has some childcare support or some transportation. There's a whole network of nonprofits out there that are and agencies out there that can help, but we need to know. We need to know what the needs are, and we try to match people up with the best services that fit their specific situation. So it really is a very powerful, and just let alone in Orange County, we make 500,000 of those connections a year. That's a
Wow.
lot, just in
Half a
Orange
million.
County, 500,000. Because
Wow.
most people do not realize, and I know you're well aware of this,
Hmm.
but most people don't realize in our incredible Orange County, where there are 3 million plus people,
Hmm.
a million of people live and are struggling to get by every single day.
Incredible. So this 211 is this amazing resource, and I just feel that at the county level, we could be doing a better job of sharing that information. So what's some good advice for the county superintendent of schools on how we get that information, that this 211, and how that helps support our families?
Yeah, well, there's a couple things coming up right now. For example, beginning of every new year, there's taxes. And
Hmm.
so, yay, I don't
Yay,
want to
fun.
mention the T word. Yeah, so taxes, but we run, for example, in Orange County, the free tax program.
Hmm.
So some might know it as a VITA, the volunteer income tax, process, et cetera. But OC free tax prep. So anyway, all of that being said, people can call 211 and
Okay.
set an appointment to get their taxes done. And again, this is free with volunteers that are trained and understand how to get all the income tax credits that somebody's due. That would be a wonderful thing for you to
Hmm.
promote to all of the different districts and let people know if they have families that
Hmm.
earn under a certain amount. We'll send you all the information that they should call that. That would be a non-threatening way to call.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
then, like finding different examples where um, somebody might need help. Maybe it's not for them. Sometimes somebody might not say, I need help.
Hmm.
But my mom lives, in a community and she doesn't have transportation to get to the market or get food delivered, right? Those are ways to get people to call to find out what's out there and maybe they'll open up to say other things that they might need. But just promoting 211 and letting
Hmm.
people know that it's service that's here, I think would be fabulous. And the more we promote it, the better off we all are. I tell all my friends.
So we work with families too through our foster youth or homeless, um, a McKinney-Vento department. And so if we get a family could our staff just dial 211 on behalf of those families?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And you know what I will do? I will make sure that you have 2-in-1 cards with you wherever
Yeah,
you go. They're
those are
little
great.
like business sized cards.
Yeah.
I keep them in my car. And, one thing I do is when I see somebody that might be struggling on the street or whatever,
Hmm.
ensure I have a card. I might carry some small gift cards to McDonald's or something to hand out as well, to somebody. But just having those cards with you and just letting people know there's services out there, it's great. I just like to let people know that it's okay. We all, at some point in our time, needed help, right?
Yeah.
Every single one of us at some point,
Mm.
and might have had somebody in our family to call our friends, but it's okay. If you don't, call, ask. Let's see what the help is out there, because we'd rather that phone call might keep somebody working, it might keep them housed, and that's going to be better for their entire family.
I can imagine how, unfortunately, when we have an emergency, we think to call 911 because there's an urgency, right? But I can imagine how it doesn't feel urgent in the exact same way as an emergency, and then maybe people kind of hesitate to do it. And I heard you say earlier, ask for help sooner. Is that
Yes.
something that we really want people to understand? Don't hesitate to call 211 is what I'm kind of hearing. Is that right?
Right. And I can't guarantee that service is out there, that they're going to get their help they immediately need. But many people wait until, for example, they get a 3-day notice. That's really hard to help somebody not. And we've done it, I mean, through the nonprofit partners and everything. But if somebody knows, like, they lost their job and maybe they have one more month left of rent in their checking account, they might want to call now so we could get them connected to the services that they might need that might help them through that difficult time. So I guess, yes, there's no harm in calling sooner.
Yeah.
And I think there's probably a relief. Our people are trained to help people through challenging situations.
I'm thinking about someone right now that I know personally that are going through tough times. Federal aid has been cut, and can you tell a little bit more about that? Give us some updates on that and how that's impacted our families.
Yeah. So, right now, and different situations happen at different times, right? But right now, what we're looking at is the potential that people who have been vetted and are receiving what you might once have known as food stamps, but CalFresh benefits, those are loaded onto a card at the beginning of every month. And those are determined by a formula of how many people are in your family, et cetera. And those right now at this particular time might be paused due to the federal shutdown. And because of that, that's 310,000 people in Orange County. And that is majority seniors or children. And so for people right now, so example, in this particular example that hopefully will get ended soon, but in this example, we can use about 211, is that we're working very closely with the county to understand what they're hearing, the food banks, but also we've alerted all of the food pantries, as many as we can that we have connections to keep us updated daily on their inventory. So if one of your families, for example, calls, that we don't send somebody to somebody that doesn't have any food left to help, but they can call 211 and get directed to the closest location, their food. So we're in touch. We're having a system that's worked out for the pantries to update us. So there's real-time information for families who need help. That would be one way that 211 is mobilized to help folks in these really kind of challenging times. Where I use the example of the LA fires, which example why any of us may call 211. And there's a 211 covering 97% of the country. So 211 exists across the country. But in Orange County, it's managed by the United Way. And 50%, I believe, in the country are part of their United Way. They don't have to be. They could be a separate 501c3. They could be part of another organization. But this really fits the work that we do in terms of mobilizing communities. But in LA, in those fires, there were 80,000 calls to 211 in 10 days.
Wow.
And so that's how important it was for people to have this place to connect. And once again, the public officials were on stage saying, if your house is on fire, call 911. Anything else, call 211. And that's what we want to be. And we want to make sure the public safety folks have their focus on the things that are going to be life and death and keeping as safe as possible. On the social services side, let 211 manage that process, so it alleviates the public officials from having to worry about that part.
You mentioned 1,100 nonprofits are supporting 211. How do nonprofits get connected in that way? How does this incredible network continue to grow and thrive?
It's a lot of work. No, it is. Our people, we have people that go out and work with the different nonprofits. 211 in Orange County has been around for a long time. It's been part of our world for, like I said, the last couple of years. So it's well known, but we are building out what's called a closed loop referral system, and I'm very excited about this. So, for example, if I was calling in the past a traditional 211, you would learn about me, what I needed, and you would send me like maybe 3 different references. Maybe I'm housing insecure. I don't know if I can eat, and can't pay my utilities, right? 3 very common things. You would give me information on 3 locations near me that I could go to see if they have resources. As 211, or as now I'm looking at that system going, I want to know if they got help. Right?
Yeah.
And so the idea of just giving people the information, we want to close that loop. We want to make sure the person got their help. So we've been out of that 1,100 today, as I sit here, we have about 120 of those that are part of a closed loop referral system. And our people go out, they understand the technology of that nonprofit, they train their people. We have service level agreements to say, okay, we're going to pass somebody to you on this Salesforce, this application we built on a Salesforce platform. But all that being said is that you would be able to come back and tell me if you helped that person, that you had a program that helped that person. So I know that loop is closed.
I see.
And if not, then I can send it, maybe that referral to you, and you can do it, so that we stay with that person until their need is met. And that is our goal. We want to give people who are struggling that concierge service, that somebody cares and somebody's with them until their need is met. Again, we can't guarantee it, but we're going to do everything we can to get to the service, a service that'll help them. So out of that 1,100, we know there are 3,000 programs they represent. Our team works at least a couple times a year to ensure that we have updated information on what they offer. In times of crisis like this food situation, it's daily. But then out of that, we work with the ones that are most referred to get them signed up in this platform. So through technology, we can connect somebody and they can see if they can help that. We know if they are able to help, and if not, we get them to somebody. So it's extraordinary. We've closed about 4,000 of those connections. It's working right now, and it's going to be a game changer. The other thing it does, it really lifts the whole sector, because there are 9,000 nonprofits in Orange County. I don't want to scare you, but there's 9,000.
It makes me happy to hear that. I'm excited about that.
Well, and but the idea that the more connected and the more services that we can see what's out there, the more we know where there's gaps, the more we know
Yes, of course.
what needs to be met, and we can lift the whole sector, which I think is exciting for us all. So the other day, I'll give you an example, and this has children. A woman called. This is not an unusual situation, where she was living in her car with her 2 school-aged children, and she works full time, and she was trying to get to work every day, clean and nice, and get her kids to school clean and nice. How hard would that be, right? And through this collaborative system, we were able to find her 4 months of a transitional housing for her and her family so they can get her into a more permanent situation. She's safe. And one of the food pantries that was near that center where she's going to be able to stay said, I can get her food today. I can get that food today. So they saw it all happen. So it's like real. It's real. We should feel good about that.
You know, in education, when we think about students and children that enter school, we want to look at the whole child. We want to look at if their basic needs are being met, because they can't learn until their basic needs are met. And so that's the work that you do at Orange County United Way, is you care for their family at their basic level, so that then those students, when they come to us in schools, they're ready to learn. And so that kind of partnership between your organization and our County Office of Education lifts communities and lifts students one student at a time. So I really appreciate that partnership that we have with you.
Well, we so value our relationship with you and the work that you do. And I
Yeah.
think about education is the secret of future success, right? So what you do is so important. So if we can help stabilize that household and get them in a steady place, and that child can learn and get excited about the career of the future, that breaks that cycle, right?
Yeah.
You're so key to this whole united community that we're all part of.
Appreciate that.
Well, I think this entire conversation has been about hope, but I do want to ask one specific question about hope. And Sue, what is something giving you hope for the future of our community right now? It's a big question. And Dr. Bean, I'm going to ask you too. So
I'm ready.
Be locked and loaded on that.
Well, I have a lot of hope. I am definitely an optimist, and I love relationships, collaboration, partnerships like this, right? We're working together for the common, our common ethos to help lift families and help lift children. So I'm excited about that, what we do now, and in the future, what we can do. I'm also hopeful that as more people learn about the need in our community, that more people will step up and say, I'm in. And we have something, we're promoting on our way to 2030 as well, but 4 million moments of impact. We've been having fun with 4. Just remember 4. But the idea that let's be for Orange County. Let's be for the people of Orange County. That, as we said earlier, sometimes you can give help and sometimes you need help. That's all okay. We've all been there. We are all together, and let's take care of each other. So let's create moments of impact that matter, and that gives me hope. I know we can do it.
And I'm going to piggyback on that hope, because that then actually gives hope to our teachers, because quite often our teachers feel isolated and alone because they feel that it's already challenging enough to give instruction, academics, and then to help a student with their mental health supports, and then their basic needs. But the hope that I have is that our teachers see they're not alone in this work, that they have. Now you're getting me teared up.
Right?
That they have organizations like yours to come alongside them and to really lift our teachers in the care of our kids so that we can do it all together. And that gives me great hope for our community. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
You use the term step up. And for those who are ready to step up, what is the best way for them to connect with you and the important work that United Way is doing here in Orange County?
Oh, well, thank you for asking. Going to our website, unitedwayoc.org, would be a great way for people to understand what we do. And there's ways to help us with being advocates. There's ways to help volunteer, be an e-mentor, volunteer in a number of different ways. And then obviously give. We are a nonprofit, and so we are supported by donations. We are part of the fabric of community. We've been here 101 years, so we're not going anywhere. But the idea that we are going to flex and bend and do whatever is right for the people of Orange County, that is our commitment now and in the future. And if you want to be a part of that, help us. And then one of those 3 ways would help a lot.
Thank you, Sue, for coming and sharing how United Way lifts our communities. And thank you for being in partnership with us and doing that.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Bean.
Of
It's so
course.
appreciative of everything that you do. And thank you for having me on.
Of
Yeah,
course,
pleasure.
of course.
Thank you for listening to Future Current, a podcast from the Orange County Department of Education. If you enjoyed this conversation, please follow, rate, and review Future Current on your favorite podcast platform. The opinions expressed by guests on this podcast are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Orange County Department of Education, its leadership, or staff. To learn more about the programs and people shaping the future of Orange County, visit ocde.us.